today with my good friend Lauren. We actually went to Manhattan College together and we ran track. You did cross country. I did not do cross country.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
You were not crazy.
Well, don't know about that. But Lauren is a transformational wellness coach. Lauren, can you explain what that is? Because I'm not exactly sure I know what that is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with individuals and experience and part of their transformation. So a lot of times my methodology works around natural rhythms, women's health, say that 5 times fast, and it's to create a happier person from the inside out.
Okay, great. And I know you've worked with Eastern and Western medicine. You have a lot of insight on diet and wellness. So let's start with Eastern and Western medicine. The purpose of some of these videos that I'm doing is to give people options and insight into different methods and ways of taking care of yourself. So let's start with Eastern and Western medicine. Can you give us a little synopsis on what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously when they say Eastern and Western medicine, or maybe not so obvious, they talk about the hemispheres that it's deriving from. So Western medicine being your typical emergency room, hospitals, doctors. Eastern medicine being more natural therapies to eradicate disease. So there's, I think, a need for both of them, right? There's Eastern medicine, which I use as a tool for preventative health. So a lot of the things that we deal with, whether it's weight, anxiety, it could be skin, pityriasis, rosacea, hives, whatever it is, right? That can be prevented through Eastern medicine, whereas I tend to use Western medicine as accidents, as cancers, things that kind of go beyond the simple and that require, a lot of work.
Okay. And you're also a Reiki, is that right?
Yeah, I do Reiki and I'm a yoga teacher as well.
Okay. So I'm not super well versed in yoga. I'm not flexible. I know it's good for meditation and overall health and wellness, but what is your take on yoga and other practices like that?
Yeah. Yoga can be so beneficial, and I think when we come into yoga, we think about the perfect pose or a headstand or flipping upside down, something along those lines. But yoga actually can end up being this powerful thing to help overcome so much of what's happening in our lives. So there's 2 parts of yoga. There's the actual warrior 2, you're holding the postures in the physical form. But then there's the yoga of the heart and of the mind, and that's coming through meditation, and it's finding ease and learning how to control the mind to be able to express and connect deeper to your heart.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, when we're dealing with a cancer diagnosis, controlling your mind is so important. And I think it's often something that's overlooked, is taking care of that part of yourself. What advice would you have for someone who is dealing with a recent cancer diagnosis in either Eastern, Western medicine, yoga, Reiki? What would you say is?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so much to say with the mindset of how we come into these things. Paige talks about it all the time, evoking this mood of positivity, and it's so easy in this moment to say, why me, and lay it all on me, and this, I don't deserve this, and I do all these things and I don't understand, and it really comes into this place of positivity, and there's a reason why this is happening, and trying to understand that. And sometimes it takes decades, so it doesn't happen overnight, but it's, again, continuing to evoke this mood of positivity, and that knowing that there are things that you are capable of, even if you're not capable of everything that you used to do, right? Maybe you don't have your hair, or you can't walk, or you can't experience life in the fullest way you were doing before, but can you come into your breath? So in yoga we practice, it's called pranayama. It's breath meditation, and it's literally just stepping into your breath. So here we can even practice if you want. So here, if we kind of keep our feet nice and planted on the ground, we can come to close the eyes, and I'll close the eyes with you. And it's really just taking and noticing your breath. So with your sits bones and your bed, or in your chair, or maybe you're lying down on your bed or on the floor, just take nice deep inhales through the low belly. Feel the expansion through your mid-belly, rising up to your chest. And then as you exhale, release from your upper chest, your mid-belly, your low belly. So as you continue this breath, finding this expansion within the physical form, you can start to go deeper in your mind form. You'll notice after doing this for 5 minutes, even just 5 minutes a day, you can change your outlook, your mind. They say when the emotions are impacted, it's because the breath is a little off. So when we're sad or crying, you can think of your breath being like really fast, like, you know, and then if you're angry, you have no breath, or you're stressed, you forget how to breathe. And they say by having this steady, calm, deep breath, it creates a steady, calm energy in you that just falls. So it's something that everyone can do, is try to control the breath.
Yeah, no, I mean, even in just doing that, you know, I felt way more relaxed. So okay, let's shift now into diet, because you know, obviously you're a wellness coach, and diet is a big part of that. So you're a vegetarian. I'm not a vegetarian. Not for me, but I want to give my viewers, you know, insight into different options, even if it's not something that I do myself. So could you give us a little insight into like your diet and what is important?
Yeah, absolutely. So wherever you are in your diet journey, I think everyone has kind of a different preference these days, whether it's meat, without meat, vegan, gluten-free, whatever it is, right? You need to do what's right for you and know and feel into that. The best things you can do, and I talk about these natural rhythms, is seasonal and understanding the season. So if you're living in, say, the Northeast at this time of year, the foods that are really fresh are gourds and foods from the earth, because this time of year tends to be cold, dry, rough. Like, think of a leaf, right? Dry, windy, lost, mobile. It's all of these things that are in our environment. So the foods you want to eat are the opposite. And then you find balance by kind of dancing these lines between opposites. So yeah, foods from the earth, local food. And again, it doesn't have to be organic if you can't afford it. Another thing that's really supportive now is oily. So we immediately think like, okay, McDonald's is good then, right? And it's not. So it's like, you know, maybe clarified butter or ghee, nourishing olive oils, and things that are just really simply created by Mother Earth and supportive for our system.
And, you know, obviously when dealing with a cancer diagnosis or, you know, anything, we want to make lifestyle changes, and, you know, with lifestyle changes obviously becomes diet. Could you give us just a few lifestyle tips, like things that you totally live by, that you think might help some of my viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can give you the details to my website. I have it's 10 minutes a day that'll change your life. And it's the little things that we do every day that actually have the ability to transform. So one thing that I can't live without is tongue scraping. So this is just like a funny thing where you take this copper or silver wire and you pull it down from the tongue. Like, you put it in your mouth and you pull it down, and it takes everything that you slept and pulled away, that white fuzzy, and it gets rid of it. So if we don't get rid of it, it actually is reabsorbed back into the system. So like every morning we wake up, and through Ayurveda, which is one of the practices that I teach in my methodology support, is this life science of the body. And there's poisons that come through our body as pain, knee pain, or, you can see the fuzzies on your tongue, and they call it ama, or poison. And so the ways that we can get rid of it is moving it throughout our system or getting it out, ideally.
Okay, so the tongue scraping, that's not something that I was super aware of, but I think that's good, because that's obviously we want to release poisons from our body. So take that as you want it. If you want to try that, then go buy yourself a tongue scraper.
They're super cheap. Amazon, you can get them for like $10, and it's once you start it, you'll never untongue scrape. But anyway, do you want other tips, or?
Yeah, no, and I remember you telling me, because I think there are some things, like going back to diet, that we don't really realize, because you mentioned to me honey, for example. If you put it in your tea, because I put honey in my tea, if you put it in your tea when it's hot, it becomes
like poison. Yeah, it's not actually poison, right? We can also, we've heated honey, but not to boil honey. Boiled honey loses its medicinal properties and actually creates more harmful chemicals than positive ones. So if you ever look at Ayurvedic cookbooks, they'll always say, if you add sugar, never, or like if you're cooking something, I should say, never add honey. So think about when you want honey on a product, you either drizzle it over or like you put your finger in it. If it's hot, like a tea, hot water, you test it. And if it's something that you would drink, then you can actually put the honey in there. So yeah, it's really powerful. That kind of changed my perspective and made me think every time I was sick, I did that. So maybe I was increasing my sick.
You also mentioned to me about vegetables, the way we prepare them, the nutrients sometimes, I guess, go away if you boil it or if you fry it. I mean, I tend to steam my veggies, but can you give us...
Yeah, steaming. So it's funny because there's so many different things out there. A lot of people will say raw is the best, and that's actually not the best for everybody. And I will say raw is better than frozen, better than rotting, better than a lot of variations, but they say to make it as easily digestible in the body, as most of us actually have poor digestion, the best thing you can do is actually lightly cook. So steaming is starting that digestion process, and when you eat it, then your body doesn't have to work as hard to break it down. So boiling isn't as powerful because it can actually spread the nutrients out from, say, the broccoli or whatever you chose into the water. So unless you're drinking all of the water that you boiled it into and want broccoli water.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that broccoli water isn't really on anybody's menu, but...
It's the new, like, juice thing.
Yes. Well,
maybe.
To each their own. But, okay, before we finish up, I know we quickly mentioned that you are a Reiki, and what's the proper term? You practice Reiki?
Yeah, I'm a Reiki healer. I practice Reiki for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so can you give us just a little bit of background about what that is and what the benefits are?
Yeah, absolutely. So Reiki is this really powerful way of cleansing energy. So before you turn this off, right? Like I think a lot of people are like, that's a load of beep. So instead of that, right? It's a belief, and I believe, and I think like science has proved that everything is made up of matter. Everything is energy, that we are energy. We're either created by air, space, fire, water, or earth. Those are the 5 elements. And in space and in air, it carries energy. Even think about the particles in the dust that we don't see. They talk about animals that can hear, that hear in pitches that we could never hear. So it's sight beyond. So we're talking about energy and this transformation of energy, this cleansing of energy. So there's this Japanese wisdom that you can actually cleanse out somebody's energy. So if there's pain, it's showing that there's either hurt, disease, or memories that need to be kind of moved. And what the process of Reiki does is allows me to be a conduit of universal energy to move it through you and rid it from you if it's not serving you.
Well, I'm totally into that stuff. I've been to a Reiki before, and when people were asking me my feedback, I felt totally different. I felt so much more relaxed, and I would personally recommend it to anybody who would like to try it. So that's a lot of information. I thank you so much for stopping by and talking to me this week. All of her information is in the comments section below. Please check out her website, her Instagram, follow her, support her. She's amazing, and even being in her presence.
Amazing. You're amazing.
Thank you. But being in Lauren's presence, it just, I feel better. So thank you so much.
Happy to serve anytime.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys.